The boogeyman of the heavyweight division has just saved this card. Daniel Dubois has just pulled out of his heavyweight title fight against Joseph Parker, and in comes Martin Bakole on 2 days notice to challenge the Aussie. But this is a dangerous fight that we think will not end well. So Martin Bakole coming from the Congo to Saudi Arabia to challenge Joseph Parker. Now no title on the line as Daniel Dubois is suddenly out of this fight, falling ill. And this is a big risk for both guys. I'm going to be honest. Joseph Parker, if he loses to Bakole on 2 days notice, that would be pretty rough for his career. He has been hurt before in fights and even knocked out like against Joe Joyce, but he is still kind of on the younger side at 33 years old. Feels like he's been here way longer because he's been in so many fights against some of the top guys, but he's remained at the top of the heavyweight division. And for Martin Bakole, coming off the couch pretty much, there's going to be that question of the fitness, not having a training camp, not really preparing for Joseph Parker. Meanwhile, Parker's been in camp for a dangerous heavy puncher in Dubois, so he's going to be fit, he's going to be ready, and this is a tough fight.
Yeah, most definitely Parker's coming in this with a full training camp, fully ready to go, was getting prepared for a very powerful guy as well, a current champion and a very high level guy in Daniel Dubois, who just knocked out Anthony Joshua brutally. But this is a massive opportunity for Martin Bakole, and this is definitely why he took this fight as well. Originally, he was going to be fighting Efe Ajagba on the Ryan Garcia card in like 3 months time, and that was going to be an IBF heavyweight title eliminator fight, so whoever would win that would go on to challenge next. But this just pretty much rockets Bakole even further at a quicker pace, and if he wins this fight, especially on 2 days notice, it's going to be massive for him and his career, and he's going to be getting all the top opportunities at heavyweight from here, and it's definitely going to be seen as one of the most feared guys, and he already is, to be honest. He's coming off of his huge viral win over the young prospect Jared Anderson, who many thought was going to be the next great American boxer at heavyweight. But Martin Bakole just shut that down, put on one of the most dominating performances you could put on. And he's got all the hype now, and it's all just going to see whether or not he can get it done in this fight against Joseph Parker on the short notice, coming off the couch and being able to beat him in this massive card with all the eyes on him.
This is a big risk and massive respect to Joseph Parker staying on this card against another potentially even bigger threat. People think Bakole is next up. He's the boogeyman. No one wants this fight. There's stories of him sparring with Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua, all of the big heavyweights, and he supposedly dropped them all, supposedly knocked them all out. We don't know how true all of those stories are, but we know he's the real deal. We've seen his skills in the ring. He's had one hiccup against Michael Hunter when I think his shoulder was injured, and that was a while ago. It seems like we're getting a new and improved version of Martin Bakole, who is just a big scary heavyweight with monstrous power. He is pretty flat-footed. He's not nearly as mobile as Joseph Parker, so I assume Parker is going to be dancing around the ring, being cautious of the power from Bakole, who has some devastating uppercuts, hooks inside. But it's going to be tough if Bakole's in the center of the ring. He's on the front foot. It's going to be hard to move around because that is what Jared Anderson did kind of try to do against Bakole. He kind of stayed in the pocket a little bit too much and tried to exchange and trade. I don't see Parker doing that as much because he knows the threat of Bakole just being that big puncher. And for Parker, he's definitely going to want to wear down Bakole, trying to bring him into those deeper waters. Obviously on short notice, his fitness probably isn't going to be up to par, so that's how Parker's going to want to have success. But Bakole is a dangerous man. You don't really want to go on short notice against one of the most dangerous, hardest hitting guys, because that could really spoil a lot of your plans. And Bakole is a big risk with not too much reward. He doesn't have the biggest name in boxing, so that's probably why a lot of people don't really want this fight and haven't really been pushing for it as much like the top guys of the heavyweight division. But Parker's taking the risk regardless. Yes, Parker was preparing for Dubois, who is also another dangerous explosive puncher, but Bakole's a big guy. He's even bigger than Daniel Dubois is, and Martin Bakole is not the guy you want to take up a short notice fight with, because this could spell some bad news for his future if Bakole could just come here and just do some damage.
Yeah, 100%. And when you're talking about Bakole's fight style, he's just such a massive force in there, and he just commands so much respect in that ring, takes up a huge portion of it too, standing in the middle, coming forward, throwing shots. Of course, like you were saying, he is flat-footed, but that's part of his game. Some people have even compared him to George Foreman in the past and how he's looked in his recent fights. and he's still fairly young for the heavyweight division, only 31. Many people see him as the future of the heavyweight division, and this will really be the test to prove whether or not he is that. Joseph Parker is no pushover. He's been at the top of the heavyweight division for a long time, hasn't been able to claim the highest of peaks, but he's still kind of that gatekeeper role. Of course, for him, this will be his probably last fight to prove whether or not he can get past that gatekeeper role or he's going to stay in that area. But regardless, it's going to be a question to see how good Bakole's cardio is going to be, how sharp his shots are going to be, because he was anticipated to go into training camp soon for his fight that was in like 3 months. So as of right now, I'm sure he's been in the gym in general, but it's just different compared to being in the gym and preparing to go to war, to go into an actual fight against a top level, top ranked opponent. So those are all big questions to see, but definitely huge risks and huge opportunities for both guys here in which they can really cement themselves to be next up in this division and can go on to be high level for the next generation.
Yeah, I don't see this fight going the distance. I don't see how this one could not end in a knockout for either guy. Either Martin Bakole just goes out there and imposes his size, his power that we know he has, and I mean, that's what his game plan is gonna be. Coming in on 2 days notice, he's gonna try to just bulldoze and bully Joseph Parker in there, but Joseph Parker is no slouch. I thought he was a sleeper pick against Daniel Dubois as well. He's a great boxer, very mobile. We saw what he did in his performances against big punchers like Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang. He beat them by decision, and he's kind of been having a resurgence in his career. So either Bakole causes some real problems early, or I could see Parker later on kind of drowning Bakole into those deeper waters, just not being able to get to Parker, not being able to land anything too significant. Maybe he can even get Parker to the floor like Zhilei Zhang did, but Parker just continues to stay disciplined, because that is one thing Parker has. He will stay disciplined throughout the fight. We saw against Wilder that discipline, not taking too many risks, not try to trade and exchange with the bigger man, but Parker's been on the floor before, and if Bakole could catch you, who knows the finishing instinct on this guy. We saw against Jared Anderson. He just came forward with some short uppercuts on the inside that just snapped Jared Anderson's head back, put him to the canvas. He is just a marauder, and he doesn't even really need to put everything into his punches to hurt you, to have significant impact on his punches. Like, he's had his way with so many of his opponents, and it could be the same for Joseph Parker, which if he does get past Joseph Parker, that would easily cement himself as one of the top heavyweights, if not top 3 right now, because that is a big test, and to beat him on 2 days notice would be emphatic and putting on a statement for the rest of the heavyweight division.
This was just great that we were able to get this fight happen after just such short notice of Daniel Dubois being sick and not being able to fight. There's been some other issues on this card as well, with Shakur Stevenson's opponent pulling out due to an illness as well, and now Daniel Dubois with the same fate. But it was so close to the fight, people were worried what's going to happen, who's going to be the replacement. And then we saw Bakole's name just be put in that hat, and he's willing to fight. He's backing up his talk, and he's willing to come in on such short notice in Saudi and put on a show and try to get this win. So great that they were able to make such a high level fight still happen in replacement, and it pretty much just sets everything up beautifully too for this entire card, and it's going to be an amazing one, 100%. And it's going to be a huge one for both of these guys' careers in the future.
This is a true test for Martin Bakole, a big step up in competition in levels. This is going to be a tough challenge for both guys. Whoever wins this, I feel like it will be pretty devastating. I think Joseph Parker has a great chance later on, and the deeper this fight goes, if he's able to drown Bakole, and Bakole early on is going to be a big threat. So let us know what you guys think in the comments down below on Joseph Parker taking on Martin Bakole on the Last Crescendo card in Riyadh season. But if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the video on screen for more punch talk.